An economic cloud named Justin Trudeau on Canada's horizon. I'm Brian Lilley with the Rebel.media. Canada has a real problem when it comes to the future of its economy, specifically its resource industry. I've been talking about this for a while now, but moves like trying to make fighting climate change a cornerstone of the new NAFTA deal, well, that's just ratcheting up my level of worry. Yes, you heard that correctly. Some people want to put climate change at the center of the soon-to-be renegotiated North American Free Trade Agreement. Who on earth would be crazy enough to do that, you ask? Well, this guy, our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Trudeau told reporters recently that he wants climate change, reducing emissions, and moving to a low-carbon economy, all to be part of the New Deal. We're certainly looking for a better level playing field across North America on environmental protections, Trudeau said. This is a pretty major policy statement from the PM. Should be getting more play. I mean, it's not nearly as important as him falling into a kayak or kissing yet another bride, but it's still important. I mean, stop and think about it for a moment. NAFTA is being renegotiated because of one man, Donald Trump. Trump wanted the deal reopened. He also pulled the U.S. out of the climate accord. So if Trudeau wants moving to a low-carbon economy to be on the table for NAFTA, well, he's either kidding himself or proving he's foolish. Trump is the man who promised to put the coal miners back to work, and just last week a coal mine opened in Pennsylvania. On top of that, you've got shale gas, fracking, unconventional and conventional oil plays, and they're all booming across the United States. Justin Trudeau may have no issue with unemployed oil workers. Let's face it, they likely didn't vote for him anyway. But these energy workers, they did vote for Trump, so this is likely a non-starter. But Trudeau isn't the only one pushing this nutty idea. A piece in the Journal of the Laurentian Elite, aka Policy Options, has a headline that screams, Team Canada should pull the NAFTA agenda toward a post-carbon economy. In the article, the two authors talk about how fossil fuels are in a period of managed decline. As they advocate for putting fighting climate change into NAFTA, they say, well, if that won't work, put a carbon import tax on American goods coming into Canada. They say Chris Hope of Cambridge University's Judge Business School estimated a border carbon tax would be $150 to $250 per ton of carbon dioxide, or about 6 to 10% of U.S. exports. If it's to be proportionate, it should cover the harm caused to the earth from the production of the goods, a harm that will not be reflected in their price if the U.S. presses ahead with unfettered use of fossil fuels, Hope wrote. Now, this is another non-starter. Donald Trump would rather have no deal than that deal. And yeah, there's some folks out there, yes, I mean Jerry Butts, that would be fine kissing off NAFTA if it means taking a firm stand for climate change. But that's not good for the Canadian economy or jobs. Forget about the energy sector for a moment. Think about how impractical such a border tax would be. They say that by the time a car is fully assembled in North America these days, the parts have crossed the Canada-US border 6 or 7 times. Which of those crossings would get taxed, which wouldn't? The eventual answer, well, it would be none of them would be taxed, because eventually the car makers would pack up shop and move production from Ontario to Ohio or North Carolina, somewhere with saner economic policies. But again, just because it's impractical, just because it would hurt our economy, doesn't mean Justin Trudeau won't do it. In his latest column, National Post's John Ivison discusses new environmental regulations for energy projects being considered by the Trudeau government. The headline reads, NEP 2.0, another Trudeau's environmental rules sows seeds of unity crisis. The piece quotes Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall. The cumulative effect of this and the carbon tax mean we're heading toward an unhealthy debate, just as we did when another Trudeau introduced his energy policy. How is this different from a national energy program in terms of the reality of what it will do to jobs and pipelines and so on? That is starting to sink in. Of the new regulations, they're being criticized by Wall, but lauded by the David Suzuki Foundation. That fact alone, that should tell you plenty. Most politicians and political watchers, they aren't cluing into any of this yet. They're too busy glowing in the currently strong economic numbers, the never-ending selfies, the socks, the foreign media adulation. But the money guys, they're ahead of the curve. They're pulling their money out. Eric Nuttall is the portfolio manager for the $146 million Sprott Energy Fund, and he told BNN he and others have taken their capital out of Canada. Nuttall says with Petronas pulling out, so many major players selling off their oil sands holdings, things aren't looking good for Canada. We as a nation have to fix this. It's a large part of our overall economy, and capital is fleeing. My capital is fleeing. It's beyond my imagination why it's not becoming more of a national priority. Look, it should be fixed. It should be a priority. But instead, we're talking about making the fight against climate change a pillar of NAFTA. And that tells you so much about Justin Trudeau and his priorities. As I like to say, elections have consequences, and these consequences will not be good for the Canadian economy, for jobs, or our future. If you like the Rebel video you just watched, click subscribe and never miss one again. You'll be on our YouTube list. And if you haven't subscribed to Rebel Canada, do that. It's all the Trudeau news the other guys don't want to tell you about.